This meeting of the Starkville Board of Aldermen will now come to order. Please rise for the saying of the Pledge of Allegiance, after which Alderman Vaughn would like to yield to Judge Carpenter to lead us in a word of prayer, and we will observe a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, we come now bound down before the loving God, the giver of every good and perfect gift. We come with thanksgiving in our heart. Father God, we uplift the city of Starkville. We thank you for our mayor, Mayor Parker Wiseman, our vice mayor, and all of our aldermen and alderwomen and staff. Father God, we pray for the department heads, and we pray you continue to grant us with more wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as we do your so great will. Father God, we even uplift the National Night Out for Crime on tonight. God, we thank you for our community coming together with a sense of love, with a sense of harmony, and a sense of peace and appreciation for all of those men and women who protect our community, who serve our community. God, we thank you, dear Master, and we pray that you just continue to keep your loving arms around us, keep us safe from all hurt, harm, and danger. And God, as our mayor, aldermen, continue going down the agenda on tonight, on this evening, God, we pray that everything will be done in decency and order. Father God, we pray that you just continue, amen, to lead and direct them into all things, even the deep things of you. Father God, it is with great appreciation for the great work that they do, for all of their sacrifice, for all of their dedication. And we thank you for just this joint community all coming together for the betterment of the city of Starkville. We uplift our schools as we prepare them, Master, to start in a couple of days. Keep us in your care. We ask all of this in Jesus' name. And all those who love the Lord say amen. Amen.
You have before you a copy of the written agenda. Are there any proposed changes to the agenda as written? All right, I've got Wynn first, then Carver. Alderman Wynn.
Okay, I'm requesting that we reorder the agenda. Page 4. Page number 4 under planning. Sorry. Page number 4 under planning. Move
Correct.
item C to board business.
And are you going to be moving multiple items to board
I
business?
am.
All right.
Move
So,
that to board business and list it as item D.
all right, so you're going to be moving a block of items to board business, and you want those to run consecutively after items A, B, and C that appeared
Yes.
on the agenda?
Yes.
All right. Then what I'll do is I'll verify each item, and then I'll hear if there's any objection to moving those items.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so the first item, Alderman Wynn has requested to move to board business, which would be item D, is a discussion and consideration of travel and training for Buddy Sanders.
Yes.
All right, proceed.
Okay, page number 5, under engineering, numbers 1 and 2, move those to board business. List them as items E and F.
All right, those items are items 11D1 and 2, the request for approval to perform asphalt repairs on Garrett Road, and the request for approval to accept the low quote from Hester Fence and Construction in the amount of $13,890. Is that correct?
Yes.
Proceed.
Okay, page 5 again, personnel, items number 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3.
All right, so those would be items 11I, 1, 2, and 3. That is as follows: request for approval to hire Michael Holmes, Nick Pearson, and Avery Todd. A request for authorization to advertise for the vacant position of maintenance worker. A request approval of the City of Starkville annual benefits enrollment. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, proceed.
Okay, page 5, police department, item J1.
All right, item 11J1, that's the discussion and consideration to send Corporal Crystal Hackett to Lebanon, Tennessee.
Yes.
All right, proceed.
Okay, page number 6, under letter K, sanitation department, move item number 1.
All right, that proposed revision would be item 11K1, the request for approval and acceptance of the lowest bid from Waste Zero for the purchase of garbage bags in the amount of $127,380. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, proceed.
Okay, the next one is under Utilities Department, number 1.
All right, that would be item 11L1, request for authorization for Starkville Utilities to accept the lowest quote of $7,300 submitted by Power Stroke Equipment. Is that correct?
Yes.
Those are all the items that you'd like to reorder?
And number 4,
All right. Item 11L4, request for authorization for Doug Devlin and James Merritt to travel to Palm Springs, California to attend the Pipe Logic training August 23rd through August 26th.
yes, and I have one more change on page 3.
All right.
Page 3 will actually be a flip. G, under Mayor's Business, will become H, and H will become G.
All right. So it would be reordering items G and H on the agenda, H becoming G, G becoming H. And those items are as follows: consideration of approval to expand the job duties of Joanna Beelan, consideration of approval to expand the job duties of Vicki Hampton. Is that correct?
Yes. And for the
those-
record, Mayor and members of the board, I called the city clerk today to make sure that we could facilitate this, since I gave her all of that information earlier, so she definitely has it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, are those all the items you wish
Those
to
are all of the
reorder?
items, yes.
All right, let me recap those and make sure that everything is as you wish. The proposed revision from Alderman Nguyen is to reorder the agenda, making the items making item H under board business, item G, and item G under board business, item H, and placing the following items under board business, beginning as item D under board business. That would be item 11B to C, item 11D 1 and 2, item 11I 1, 2, and 3, item 11J 1, item 11K 1, item 11L 1, and item 11L 4. Alderman Nguyen, is that your proposed
Yes, it
division?
is.
Do I hear any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Seeing none, please note the reordering of your agenda. Alderman Nguyen, do you have further proposed?
No, I
division?
do not.
Alderman Carver.
In light of the recent national issue of the police force and all the issues that come with race relations, I believe it'd be a good night to try a consent agenda again. I think it's imperative that the mayor, the vice mayor, and each and every one of these board members will get out of here in a timely fashion and could attend that event tonight. It is from 6:30 to 9 p.m., if that's correct. And that's a wonderful organization. I've gotten on the internet today and kind of Googled it and figured out where the base is. It kind of started in Ohio, but it's a community policing-oriented type atmosphere, something that at this day and at this time would probably be the best thing if this board and this alderman and the mayor were down there tonight instead of in here. So, this is agenda, the one we talked about every now and then, that probably has about 2 to 3 contentious items. And of course, we've got 2 public hearings and then the Bulldog Bash individuals here. But other than that, I think this would be the best night for the sake of the police force and to show our support for them to get down and adhere to our consent agenda and get down there on a timely fashion. So, did you have some comments you want to say?
No, sir. I thought you needed me to say something.
No, sir, I don't.
And if, Mayor, if I may echo that?
No, Alderman Carver has the floor.
Okay.
Under the first item is, under mayor's business, I'd like to add item A to the consent agenda.
All right, and Alderman Perkins has previously told me that he has a standing objection to adding items to the consent agenda. Alderman Perkins, does that objection stand in this case?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, while the gentleman's coming, we should be out of decent time to get there. Chief, that's from 6:30 to 9? My question, is that from 6:30 to 9?
No, sir, it starts at 6.
It's
6.
overtime?
Yes, sir, we wanted to,
It's
try to be there
over.
at 6, but if not.
6 to 9.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. That's my question. Thank
Right.
you.
All right, now Alderman Carver, you still have the floor, and there's nothing to stop you from continuing to try to place things on the consent agenda, but I will just note every time you try to place something on the consent agenda that it's been objected to by Alderman Perkins.
Well, for the record, I'd like to place them under mayor's business, item A on the consent.
All right, and that is noted, and it's been objected to, so it will remain on the open agenda.
good enough. Thank you.
All right. Alderman Nguyen.
I yield at this time. Well, other than to say, Chief Nichols, our community supports you, and Attorney General Loretta Lynch was asking everyone to support National Night Out on Crime, and our community supports you. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I yield, Mr. Mayor.
Are there further proposed revisions to the agenda, Mr. Mayor? Alderman Walker.
I would like under mayor's business to reorder item number E. I'd like to replace that and make that item 8.
All right. The proposed revision by Alderman Walker is to place item E under mayor's business, which is the consideration of a special events request by Mississippi State University Student Association for in-kind services for the 2016 Bulldog Bash with conditions to item A under mayor's business. Alderman Walker, is that your proposed revision?
Yes.
Is there any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Any objection? Seeing none, please note the reorder of your agenda. Alderman Walker, do you have further proposed?
I do not.
revisions? Any further proposed revisions from the members of the board? Any further proposed revisions? Any further proposed revisions? Any further proposed revisions? Seeing none, a motion to approve the agenda is revised
So
is in
moved.
order. Motion has been made by Alderman Carver to approve the agenda as revised. Do I hear a second?
Second?
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Carver, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. The next matter you have before you is announcements and comments by the mayor and the members of the board, other than to echo the comments that have been made by my colleagues and invite everyone out to the National Night Out at the Sportsplex as soon as we finish this meeting. I have no comments this evening. Are there any comments by the members of the board? Alderman Nguyen.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the board, I would definitely want us to tell Alderman Walker, congratulations to he and his wife as they celebrate their 19th wedding anniversary.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Alderman Walker. Is that tonight?
It is.
I'm sure there's nobody you'd rather celebrate it with than us.
That's right.
I yield.
Any further comments by the members of the board? Alderman Vaughn.
Good evening, Mayor and the board, and to the audience. Mr. Mayor, I've taken a course back, transitional leadership, and it was talking about when we come to meetings, some of us come to meetings just to fight. Same way in churches, when you have church meetings, a lot of people come to meeting just to fight. I have heard this board, some of them say something about the way plumbers do. And it's troubled me now, it bothers me, because it seems like every meeting we come in, we're fighting. We're fighting each other. And we talk about all the work that we have done, all the infrastructure we got going on. Seems like it'll cease because we can't find ourselves to get on one accord. We started fighting one another. We still got quite a few more months left before this term is up. And I just hope that we can find common ground to do what we was elected to do, to handle these affairs of the city, not beat up the audience that come to support us, not beat up our colleagues because of decisions that they make. I'm the oldest one up here, and it's sad again, so I don't want to come, even though I plan on being reelected. But these been some sad days up here at this board, because we done forgot all about professionalism. We done forgot all about what we up here to do what the people elected us to do, to handle these affairs the best that we know how. We act like we clowns sometime up here, and it's just so embarrassing that we act like that. And it's a shame that we're grown people, we got families. What kind of representation are we sending to our kids, our family? And we supposed to be up here like men's and women's, but we up here acting so unprofessionally. And I just hope from this month to re-election time that we can find ways to get back on the right track and do what we was elected to do, to handle these affairs of the city, whether we got a consent agenda, what kind of agenda we got. we still have a job to do, and I wish we would start doing that. I yield the floor, Mr. Mayor.
Further comments by the members of the board? Alderman Little, then Alderman Carver.
Mr. Terry, Kemp, I'd like for you to give us a brief update, if you will, on the Banyan Road Force Main project and how it's progressing. I've gotten several calls as we've been in communication the last few days about complaints, concerns on the delays and why it's taking so long while the press is here. And if you could speak to that. I know you've updated the website with that information. And I think the biggest thing folks want to, when's it going to be completed? So if you could update us with that, that'd be great.
And I think, Alderman, for opportunity to kind of give everybody an update. As you said earlier, we did post this afternoon on the website for people to go look. We're looking at this project in phase 1 and phase 2. We actually, of all of the pipe has been installed. Right now, we're finally down to the point of a final connection. We had initially planned when the project was designed or where we started the project, we had planned to make the connection at Laurel Hill and Banyan. And as we got into the project, we found that the existing infrastructure was not suitable for that. So we moved down the hill to Acorn and Banyan. All of that extension has been in place, and now we're just trying to make the final tie. The incorrect air relief valve, which is going to be located part of the project near the Laurel Hill Banyan section. It's a small relief valve that's part of the design. It was incorrectly sized, was sent. The new one, we understand, will be delivered tomorrow. And soon as that's in hand, the contractor will come in and make the final tie-in. The only issue that would affect that schedule, and I say to kind of give you an idea, that should happen fairly quickly. You know, we would like to be through by the end of the week if the valve does show up tomorrow, early next week at the latest. If we were to get heavy rain before or after, that does affect the flow in the system. That complicates it, and as you can appreciate, you do not want to open it up without having a good plan to make sure it all goes back together. So that's kind of where we are. So to your point earlier, what we hope to do, if the valve shows up, we get that connection made. Just in a matter of a week, we hope to be through with the actual installation, and then we'll immediately begin rework on the roads. And that means resurfacing, cleaning that up, all associated down Banyan Road. We also have more work to do along South Montgomery, which is part where some of the area was, I guess, disturbed. And that's going to start immediately too, kind of in conjunction when the contractor comes in, we clean that up. We'll be grassing, seeding, and cleaning all of that area up too. So hopefully through phase 1, it'll be very soon. I'll go back to the website. Hopefully we can kind of keep people updated on that, as well as kind of see how we're going, and we'll be making some visits to affected customers. I will say that there's a phase 2 to the project, because some have asked questions about the gravity main that fits in a small section of Banyan Road. As soon as this is switched over, then we'll be using our TV equipment, monitoring that, and then coming up with a game plan to install a gravity system that feeds the houses that are served from Laurel Hill down to South Montgomery. And but we don't know what that's going to really entail until we, here again, open it up and get in, but we've got some preliminary ideas, and we're going to move on that very quickly, hopefully minimize the impact on our customers.
Thank you for the update, Terry. I know those folks' patience, they've been very patient, but I think it's starting to wear on them. So
They really have.
Thank you so much.
That whole area has been very patient over the years, and I think once we get this behind us, it really is going to be a great project. Everybody's going to be glad it is behind us. So
Thank you.
hopefully we'll work. It is a high priority, I will say that too.
Thank you, Terry.
Alderman Carver.
I just want to use this opportunity. I don't know who in here knows about the Next Door app, but it's something that we're using in Ward 1 and I guess all across the town. If you haven't logged on yet and got onto the Next Door app, it's nextdoor.com. But what it is, it's just, it says here it's an app. It's an opportunity for neighbors to share about crime and safety concerns, local events, recommendations, ideas about how to make the neighborhood safer. And so in my instance, it's about 100 to 150 people in the Green Oaks subdivision. And then you can get on by region, and that's Cross Gates, Green Oaks, Long Meadow, and that entails about 300 to 400 people. And it's probably been the fastest device I've seen so far. If somebody's got a concern, I see Chief nodding his head in agreement over here. It's really helped out from a modern-day neighborhood watch. So across the board up here, and then also at home, maybe get on the Nextdoor app. It's probably revolutionizing the way that people share everything from there's a dog out, and then 5 minutes later you see a lady has gone and recovered her pet, or somebody has a concern that somebody may be breaking into the house. Had an elderly lady the other day that neighbors went and checked on her. Just so get on it's nextdoor.com, and it's just probably one of the better websites I've seen available for this type of service nowadays. So thank you.
Any further comments from the members of the board? Any further comments? Any further comments? Seeing none, we'll move to citizen comments. This time, any citizen wishing to make comments may do so by coming forward, introducing yourself, and you'll be recognized to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes.
Good evening to the men, board. My name is Adam Thomas, Ward 7. I want to say to the mayor of Osmond, to the board, to Vice Mayor Perkins, to Alderman Vaughn, to Alderman Walker.
Thank you, Howard.
The well-adjourned Turner family, we still thank you for all your prayers. Is mending, and probably got a family unit coming up in September. Probably gonna be a little rough, but we ask for your continued prayers. And I'm a church member over there, about the size. I'm a big brother. You might have to stand in, to kind of let it heal. We said a couple months ago that we had employee and everyone appreciation. With everything that's going on, sure don't feel, sure don't act like it. But saying one thing, doing is another. The traffic light at Marketplace is still concerned about it. The Jefferson Street sidewalk with the handicapped people, we're still concerned about that. And there was some concerns ourselves.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Are there any further citizen comments? Any further citizen comments? Any further citizen comments? Seeing none, we'll move to public appearances, and we have one public appearance tonight scheduled by Mr. Michael Blankenship. Is Mr. Blankenship here? Is Mr. Blankenship here? All right, it looks as though Mr. Blankenship is not here, so we will move to public hearings. We have two public hearings scheduled tonight. The first is a public hearing on the tax increment financing plan for Stark Crossing Development Project. This plan includes two significant revisions from the plan that you previously adopted. It changes the name of the developer because you now have a different developer on the project, and it increases the amount of sales tax pledged to the project to 50%. It keeps the overall value of the tax increment financing developer agreement at $1.5 million. The increased percentage in sales tax reflects rather a reevaluation of projected sales that the developer expects the property will generate. So the annual amount that we should expect to pay on this project will still be a maximum of $150,000 per year. However, I think one of the things that you should be prepared for with the increased percentage of sales tax is there's a much greater likelihood that we will actually get up to that $150,000 a year. But the project is still expected to generate in the neighborhood of $300,000 in city tax dollars annually. And the developer's consultant, Ms. Christiana Sugg, is here if you have any questions that you'd like to ask of her. Ms. Sugg, do you have any comments that you'd like to make?
Mayor, I think you summed it up very well. I do want to thank y'all for agreeing to have this public hearing, and I appreciate your attention. And I don't have much to add other than this is a very exciting project for the city and for the county, and we'd appreciate your support in this. Do y'all have any questions?
Are there any questions or comments from the members of the board? Any questions or comments? Seeing none, we'll now hear public comments on the proposed TIF plan and TIF development agreement. Are there any comments from the public? Anyone wishing to speak may do so by coming forward, introducing yourself, and you'll be recognized to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes.
You said TIF. Explain that to a person that just, don't have a degree, but what is that? What does it mean?
It stands for tax increment financing, and it's a way of providing tax incentives to make the finances on a development project work. So what that means in essence is a new development project is going to generate new taxes for the city, and we pledge a portion of those new taxes that are going to be generated to go into effectively the financing of the project. So it's an incentive for the developer to close the project and build it in our community. Thank you, Mr. Turner. Are there any further public comments? Any further public comments? Any further public comments? All right, seeing none, that will conclude this public hearing on the proposed tax increment financing plan. Next, we have a public hearing on the issuance of general obligation bonds of the city of Starkville, Mississippi to support the development of a new industrial park project in the maximum principal amount of $7 million. At this time, I will now ask the city clerk, as the petition period expired at 5 p.m. today. Has there been any written protest that's been received by your office? No, it's not. And the advertisement did run as it was supposed to run. So at this time, I will confirm with the city attorney that at the appropriate time on the agenda, the resolution of no protest is eligible for adoption by the members of the board.
It is.
All right, we have representatives from the Golden Triangle Development Link here. Would y'all like to say anything? All right, are there any questions or comments from the members of the board before we move into public comments? All right, seeing none, we'll now hear any public comments on the matter. Anyone wishing to speak may do so by coming forward, introducing yourself, and you'll be recognized to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes. Is there anyone wishing to speak? Is there anyone wishing to speak? Is there anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, that will conclude the public hearing on the issuance of general obligation bonds in the amount of $7 million. The next matter that you have before you is the consideration of a special events request by the Mississippi State University Student Association for in-kind services for the 2016 Bulldog Bash with conditions, and I'll ask representatives from the Student Association to introduce this matter.
Hello, my name is Roxanne Raven, and I'm currently serving as the Mississippi State Student Association Student Body President this year.
My name is Alice Kitts. I'm the Bulldog Bash 2016 Director for the Student Association.
Yes, I'm really excited to present this matter to you today. As you see, the request is a change in location from previous years for the concert due to some of the development in that area where we originally had the stage, as well as the request for some in-kind gifts from the city as well that you can see in our application. We're very excited about making things work in the city and continuing our relationship with y'all. Definitely understand the importance of that. Additionally, we've obviously tried to anticipate all the hiccups and issues that may arise from having it in this location. We've talked to different residents of this location, different property owners, businesses, property management consultants, and as well as the Catholic Church. And I feel like we have a pretty good relationship with each of those invested parties, and they feel like they are comfortable, and we are comfortable with where we're at. So at this time, I won't take up too much of your time. If you have any questions, we'd love to answer them for you. Yes.
I had a couple of calls from the Catholic Church, members of the congregation
Yes, sir.
concerning the grounds and
Yes, sir.
what precautions y'all gonna have to protect their shrubbery and flower beds and so forth. And I think the mayor had followed up on that also, but could you speak to that for the public?
Happily. As a member of the Catholic Church and been there most of my life, I definitely understand those concerns and sharing them. If you can see the attached map we submitted with our event request form, you'll see that a lot of the proposed fencing, which will be 8-foot tall chain link fencing, will go around the perimeters, including the lawn area of the grass and the shrubbery, a lot of the holy areas in that place as well. And we met with the Catholic Church today actually to go over that map, on a very detailed basis, explain exactly what we're anticipating, and they felt comfortable with those things. But we're going to continue to work with them, as well as if this matter passes the board tonight, to ensure that they feel as comfortable. But a lot of it comes from that fence, as well as hired EOG officers, which are safety event staff who've been working this event forever, who are very great to work with, as well as there will be a mobile police command station. We've talked with the police officers at an on-site meeting, and they felt that they were going to place one somewhere very near the church, either in the back lots or in that gravel lot next to the church. So with those, and then any other issues that arise along, we'll handle those as they come along. But I think we had a very productive meeting this morning.
Thank you for being proactive in meeting with them on that.
Happy to.
Are there any further questions for the representatives from the Student Association by the members of the board? Alderman Walker.
I just want to say thank you for the Student Association for working with the city and continuing to have this fantastic event, which is one of the best events that we have all year in the city, to bring out both students and tourists and locals alike. We think it's a fantastic event, and we're very much looking forward to it. So with that, Mayor, I move approval.
And the city attorney actually has a rather long proposed motion that Alderman Walker, if it pleases you, I would ask him to read the motion and then you to make the motion, as the city attorney cannot, you can read your writing better. You read the motion and we'll let you make it.
Move to approve the special events request by MSU Student Association for in-kind services for the 2016 Bulldog Bash with the following conditions. Number 1, the City of Starkville is to be listed as a sponsor on all media. Number 2, that the agreement to indemnify executed by the Greater Starkville Development Partnership as presented at the table be made a part of the record. And 3, that proof of insurance shall be required that meets paragraph 16 of the city's special events application relating to insurance, and that such insurance is considered by the Board of Aldermen 30 days prior to October 7, 2016.
Alderman Walker, is that your motion?
Yes.
All right, that motion has been reduced to writing. It's been placed with the city clerk without objection. I will not ask for it to be reread. Seeing none, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Walker, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes, and I will just echo Alderman Walker's comments. Ms. Raven and Mr. Coach, thank you very, very much for your hard work to adjust and have this concert in the city. It makes a big difference to our local economy, and we feel it's a very important symbolic event, symbolic of the town and gown relationship that is critical to everything we hold here in this community. So we thank you for the important role that you are playing in that relationship.
Definitely, we're excited about it. I think everyone wins.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next matter before you is a consideration of a resolution to approve the development reimbursement agreement for the Stark Crossing Development Project. Discussion. Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to approve of a resolution to approve development reimbursement agreement for the Stark Crossing Development Project as presented. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Maynard, do you wish to speak on the merit?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. By a vote of 6 in favor and 1 against, this motion passes. The next matter on the agenda is consideration of a resolution to approve the TIF plan for the Stark Crossing Development Project. Discussion. Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to approve of a resolution to approve of a TIF plan for the Stark Crossing Development Project as presented. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Maynard, do you wish to speak on the matter?
No.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. By a vote of 6 in favor with 1 against, this motion passes. The next matter before you is the consideration of a resolution finding and determining and declaring the intention of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen to issue $7 million in general obligation bonds. Discussion. Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to approve of a resolution finding and determining that the resolution declaring the intention of the Mayor and Board of Aldermen of the City of Starkville, Mississippi to issue general obligation bonds of the City of Starkville, Mississippi to support the development of a new industrial project in the maximum principal amount of $7 million adopted on the 21st day of June 2016 was duly published as required by law, that no written protest or other objection of any kind or character against the issuance of bonds described in said resolution has been filed by the qualified electors, and authorizing the issuance of said bonds as presented. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Maynard, do you wish to speak on the matter?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. By a vote of 6 in favor, by a vote of 5 in favor with 2 against, this motion passes. The next matter on the agenda is the discussion and consideration of the proposal for renewal of services for medical insurance benefit plan and dental insurance benefit plan as presented. This is exactly the same, exact same parameters, exact same costs as what you adopted last year. As noted in your packet, we are actually paying 3% more this year than we paid last year. However, our agent has informed us that our reserve fund, as we're a self-funded insurer, is more than adequate to absorb that 3% cost. So that our employees and the city's budget will not notice a difference. However, our reserve will absorb 3% more cost than last year. And our agent is here. Should you have any questions or comments, and do you have any thoughts?
Let me just amend, if you don't mind, Mr. Mayor. Thank y'all, and Alderman, thank y'all for the opportunity. The cost for your reinsurance is going up about 3%. However, there are some fees that you have had to pay over the last 3 years, 2016 being the final year of it, that you do not have to pay in 2017. So they offset. So at the end of the day, even though your reinsurance cost is going up 3%, the overall cost to your fixed cost for your plan is going down about 1%. So in effect, you will be paying less next year overall for the cost, if that makes sense. Your reinsurance is going up, the fees are going away, so the overall effect is a 1% decrease in fixed cost.
Questions or comments from the members of the board? Any questions? Alderman Maynard?
Yes, sir. So in the increase in the insurance costs,
Yes,
not
sir.
thinking about the fees, the individuals that pay for family and or children, is that cost going up 3%
No, sir.
as well?
As the mayor stated when we met with the mayor and the city clerk and HR a few weeks ago, y'all have had such a good year from a claim standpoint, and it's on the second page of the handout that the city clerk just gave you. Y'all's claim cost is way, way down this year substantially, so we feel like your reserve is more than adequate, so the rates are not changing at all.
Okay.
Everything will stay the same.
Thank you.
Further
Mayor, I move
discussion?
approval.
Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to approve of the proposal for renewal of services for medical insurance benefit plan and for dental insurance benefit plan as presented. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Maynard, do you wish to speak on the motion?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. The next matter on the agenda is the consideration of the Mississippi Partnership Counseling to Career Youth Program. we have an opportunity to enter into an agreement with GTPDD to receive a worker that will be paid by GTPDD, two workers that will be paid by GTPDD through the program. It is an excellent program. We've utilized it in the past. In fact, we have had graduates of the program who worked with us go on to become full-time city employees, and they have been excellent employees as the program provides us not only with work that is paid for by a source other than city funds, but it provides training and oversight to the individual, which we also benefit from as well, and we could use the work. Discussion.
Move approval.
Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to approve of the Mississippi Partnership Counseling to Career C2C Youth Program Work Experience Worksite Agreement through GTPDD and authorized to participate in the program as presented. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Vaughn. Alderman Maynard, do you wish to speak on the matter?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. The next matter you have before you is a consideration of approval to expand the job duties of Vicki Hampton to assist the boards and commissions and provide administrative support to Mayor Parker Wiseman and Vice Mayor Roy Perkins, with added duties to constitute an expansion of duties and a corresponding promotional increase of 22.4% effective August 3rd, 2016. There is one change that needs to be made to the material that appeared in your packet, and that is with the salary change, this position would actually become a grade 9. And your packet still lists it as a grade 8. The reason I am requesting the change, as you'll recall, last week at the board meeting, you opted not to fill the position that was previously occupied by Ms. Tammy Carlisle. Among her duties, she was responsible for working with boards and commissions, as well as assisting the Board of Aldermen. The matter which you will be asked to take up next relates to a reassignment of some of the support duties for the Board of Aldermen. This position would be structured now where Vicki would take on some of the duties that Ms. Carlisle previously had. The duty specifically that she would take on is assisting the boards and commissions, and she would assist the vice mayor in addition to me and the city engineer who she currently assists. If we are not going to fill the position vacated by Ms. Carlisle, having had conversations with Ms. Hampton and the city clerk, this is a method I think that can work. Now, there's something I want to note, and it really relates more to the next topic than to this topic, is the administrative assistant duties that the intern in the city clerk's office will be asked to fulfill need to be more limited than some of the demands that you previously placed on Ms. Carlisle and my assistant when we shared an assistant. We do think that the intern is capable of providing assistance to the Board of Aldermen. However, that's been written up as assistance, which will be limited to travel and scheduling for the board. So I would ask you over the next year, while we are making this work with one less full-time staff position, to respect the more limited parameters of what that position would be asked to provide. And after having conversations with Ms. Hampton about additional duties that she feels she could take on, Ms. Hampton is comfortable taking on duties assisting the boards and commissions as well as the vice mayor, which would be added to this position. Alderman Carter.
Just for housekeeping, what is the day-to-day operation of the vice mayor position? I know it was listed on here. It's just kind of odd to me, and a couple people called me, constituents, and asked why that was listed, because is there a reason or a purpose?
The most significant duties that the vice mayor has that are separate and distinct from the rest of your duties is he serves as the chief executive in my absence.
Sure.
So that means whether it's ceremonial events, whether it's documents that need to be signed, or staff supervision when I'm out of town, the vice mayor assumes that role when I'm not here. So it's a natural fit for the person that assists me, also to assist the vice mayor.
Well, with this individual, with Ms. Hampton, would she support the vice mayor in any way on day-to-day operations, or does that need to be listed on there?
She would. She would provide assistance, just as your contact under this structure would be Ms. Beelan, and his contact under this structure would be Ms. Hampton.
Okay. Okay, so that's the distinction.
That is the distinction.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Little.
I appreciate Ms. Hampton's willingness to step up and take on the additional duties, but I think that's a little steep on the salary increase to basically have 3 to 4 boards that really are the ones that meet on a regular basis. I don't know that any particular board member needs their own secretary, and you spoke to it. If you're out of state, that's when the mayor pro tem would step in, and that would, if you're not here, she's serving the mayor pro tem. So I don't know why that we would need that distinguishing determination made there. I can't understand why we couldn't absorb this within the community development department, personally. Is there any reason, is there someone you could delegate, Mr. Sanders, within your department to handle something like this? To handle the minutes. I think they're all current and up to date. Is there someone within your department that can handle it? I know Mr. Green's at all those P&Z meetings, and not trying to throw you under the bus. Vicki Lowry maybe could step up and get some additional pay to do that, and maybe not to this extent. I'm just throwing out options. I think this is something that should stay within your department and not be removed from your department. And that's my personal opinion. I yield the floor.
Right, and Alderman Wynn, I'll recognize you after I make a couple of comments. That is, prior to hiring Ms. Carlisle, we didn't have anybody specifically that was designated to keep records and assist all of our boards and commissions. And it was something that I desired immensely, because all of those boards and commissions, regardless of how frequently or infrequently they meet, are public bodies subject to the Open Meetings Act, and also subject to the ethics laws of the state of Mississippi. And as we have been cited previously for advisory committees not keeping proper records and not properly adhering to those laws and procedures, I feel much more comfortable from a compliance standpoint if we have somebody who that is a regular part of their job. And that's why I sought Ms. Hampton out. And this is not to say that I don't have confidence in the community development department to keep those records. However, as the function of the community development department is to handle development in the city, and they all have jobs that are pretty far afield of keeping the records and providing assistance to all the boards and commissions, I do think there needs to be, or I think it's best practice, and it makes me more comfortable to have somebody that has a designated function to make sure, in coordination with the city attorney, that we're following state law. Because it's not an issue until it is an issue, and the way it becomes an issue is when we get a public records request or somebody makes a complaint to the Ethics Commission, and we're exposed because our procedures did not technically comply with the law. Alderman Wynn.
Yes. Mr. Sanders, will you please come forward? Mr. Clemens, will you please come forward? Mr. City Engineer, will you please come forward? Mr. Clemens, if you will you tee up that email that I sent over to you? Think you can get it, Mr. Clemens? Mayor, I do have the floor, am I correct?
You do.
That item that we are addressing now, I'm very concerned about the language because it says to provide administrative support to the mayor. Mrs. Hampton is presently already doing that. Okay. Our city has 15 boards and commissions, and many of our boards to address ethic matters or all of the legal matters. Many of them have counsel, such as Housing Authority, that has Attorney Dalton McAlpin for their counsel, as well as Starkville School District has counsel. So what I want to do is just go over a couple of these so that just for public information, we'll understand that someone is asking for $6,272 for an increase for someone that would be doing boards and commissions, and actually our city is only responsible for about 3 that Ms. Carlisle was actually doing. And Ms. City Clerk, will you verify that you tendered me this information on, was it yesterday or today? Yesterday. And if I can't read your handwriting, will you please step in for me? Okay. On the Golden Triangle Regional Airport and Authority, no one from our building department or our city take those board minutes. Those are done at their board. The Starkville Housing Authority, which is the one that I serve as the liaison, Executive Director Mrs. Amy Bishop is doing those minutes now. She is the new ED. Prior to her, the Executive Director Mrs. Becky Carlisle did those meetings. On the Municipal Board, Mr. Andy Fultz or Mr. Rodney Lincoln are providing those minutes. Library Board of Trustees that I serve as a liaison on, Ms. Nancy Walsh is doing those minutes. The Oktibbeha Hall County Heritage Museum, they take their own minutes according to the information that the city clerk tendered to me. Starkville Park Commission is no longer existent. Starkville Park and Recreation Advisory no longer meet. P&Z is one of the boards that our city processed minutes for. Ms. Carlisle was doing that, so that is 1. Boards of Adjustments and Appeals, Ms. Carlisle was doing that, that is 2. Starkville School Board, we do not process any minutes for those. They have an administrative assistant, their executive secretary over there, Ms. Debbie Charay does that. Golden Triangle Solid Waste Authority, they prepare their own minutes. Municipal Election Commission, our city clerk prepares those. The City of Starkville Transportation Committee, those are prepared by our city engineer, Mr. Edward Kemp. City of Starkville Tree Advisory Board, Mr. Kemp, will you speak to me regarding that Tree Advisory Board? Do they meet? Mm-hmm.
Tree Advisory Board is underneath community development.
Okay, who processed those minutes? They prepare their own.
Yes.
I see in here.
Yes,
okay. City of Starkville Historic Preservation, Mr. Sanders, will you speak to that?
We process those.
You process those, okay? And who does those particularly? Was Ms. Carlisle doing those?
Ms. Carlisle has
That's
done the past 4 sets of minutes. They're just
okay. That's 3, and those are the only 3. And the last one is the City of Starkville Stormwater Hearing Board, and those are processed by our city engineer, Mr. Edward Kemp. So, having given you all this presentation, we're talking about only 3 boards that someone would need to come forward and be able to process those minutes. We're asking for $6,272 to provide someone as an assistant to the vice mayor for our city, as well as process 3 boards. $6,272. That's a total of 22.4%. That's very baffling, and it's confusing, and it's very concerning. Mr. Kemp, our general manager for Starkville Utilities, took on 2 departments. And if you will you all sit to the side? Mr. Kemp took on 2 departments months ago. Mr. Kemp was given a 10% raise, but yet he took on water and the sewer department, in addition to the light department that he already had. Our board only gave him 10%. And tonight, someone is asking us to provide someone with $6,272 in a raise to become an assistant, to provide assistance to the vice mayor. That's very troubling and confusing to me. Now, I realize that Mr. Vice Mayor Perkins has developed a rapport with Ms. Vicky for work relations, for whatever reason that is. I understand that she may be good at what she does. You know, I'm certain that she is telling him the information that he needs regarding Aldermen, regarding whatever it is, and I understand that she takes information down to his office. I have no problem with that. But I do have a problem with giving someone $6,272 when all the vice mayor has to do is join the rest of us in this proposal that I'm asking the board to submit, and it's a savings to our city. I cannot imagine the cost that we'll receive tomorrow. How did you all give someone $6,272, a pay increase of 22.4%? It's confusing to me. When we talk about these boards and commissions, I'm asking, and Buddy, will you please stand for me? Vicki Lowry is a member of your department. I have the information that she has been here 10.5 years, and she served as a code enforcement administrative assistant. And for someone like me who is in the building a lot of times, it gives you a perspective of what our employees are doing. Kind of come in as early as I am. You see who don't come in to work on time. You see who take about a 2-hour lunch break. It becomes very interesting. But now if you come to the board meeting and you just show up 2 times a month, you won't get a chance to see all of that. I'll tell you about an employee that you have that I'm very impressed with. Her name is Miss Vicki Lowry. She's been with us 10.5 years. She already works as a secretary in your department, and would be great to be able to take these boards and commission meetings because those are already housed in your department. Mr. Sanders, I will be asking the board, and I'm going to put a motion on the table to support giving that to Ms. Vicki, and then I put in here $1,500 pay increase for her that I think would be appropriate. This would save our city so much money, members of the board. May I have a motion that I would like to put on the table regarding this?
You have the floor.
Move approval to assign Ms. Vicki Lowry to process minutes for Planning and Zoning Commission, Board of Adjustments and Appeals, and Historic Preservation Commission with a pay increase of $1,500 effective Wednesday, August 3rd, 2016.
Motion has been made, it's been reduced to writing without objection. I will not ask for it to be reread. Is there any objection? Seeing none, do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Wendy, wish to speak on the merits?
No, I do not.
All right, let me offer some comments. First of all, on why I made the recommendation where I made it on this. Well, first let me back up for a second. The position is not intended to physically go and take the minutes for all of our boards and commissions.
Exactly.
It's intended to be a custodian and a record keeper. And the reason that I made the recommendation for the salary that I did was based off of the precedent that we just set with Ms. Carlisle. The position when you add boards and commissions, whether it be to my assistant's position or whether it be to Ms. Lowry's position or somebody else's position, is a significant undertaking, and making sure that there is a central clearinghouse for all of those records and they are in line is a significant responsibility. Now, Ms. Carlisle's position had 3 legs. It was assistance to the Community Development Department. It was assistance to administrative assistance to the Board of Aldermen, and it was the assistance to the boards and commissions. That position paid $39,000 a year. This position, and again, I believe the best place to put it is with my assistant. But if you choose to put it with somebody else, that is 1/3 of the duties that position carried at a level we were previously compensating at $39,000 a year. So if this position, my assistant's position, were restructured where she were assisting me, the city engineer, and the vice mayor, along with assisting the boards and commissions, in my mind, it does not have all of the duties that Ms. Carlisle's position previously had, but it has most of the duties that Ms. Carlisle's position previously had. That's why the position was recommended at $35,000 a year, and that's a recommendation that I certainly stand by. Alderman Little.
When I saw that in the packet the other day, my ears perked up, and I'd be surprised if anybody sitting at the table didn't perk up when they saw that salary amount requested. It's an increase. Just because we paid that in the past doesn't mean that just because the money's there doesn't mean we've got to spend it. And we have the authority of this board to monitor this situation going forward, and if it doesn't work out, we can back up and reevaluate it. But I think this is the best way to handle it going forward at this point. I yield the floor.
Further discussion?
Mayor, again, let me state this. I cannot support giving someone $6,272 just because they'd be processing the minute for these 3 boards and serving as you all say, an assistant to the vice mayor. That raises flags in the community. I cannot tell you about the calls that I've received regarding that. I stand by the motion that I presented, and I'm ready to vote.
Any further discussion? Alderman Magley.
I'm going to take the position of the mayor here just 1 minute, because I think we need to look at a couple of additional items. One, fairness and compensation and what we were doing. I don't think you look at the percent increase. I think you reevaluate the position and you look at what that position should be adequately compensated at. Two, when Ms. Carlisle took over boards and commissions and the minutes thereof, they were in shambles. And we need to make sure that whoever takes over that responsibility understands fully and completely the regulations that come with that. Because if they're going to be responsible for it, whether they're there officially taking the minutes or not, they're going to have to make sure that they take into account that the minutes are being taken, that they're being filed properly, that they're being signed properly, and that the meetings are being noticed properly. It's not just putting the minutes in a 3-ring binder and sitting them on a shelf. There's additional responsibility that comes with that. If you choose to provide these duties to Miss Lowry, buddy, what's her name? Lowry. I would argue that probably $1,500 for that is maybe not enough, because that's a great deal of responsibility that this individual has not had in the past, that this individual is now going to have. But that's neither here nor there. But I think you need to look at don't look at the percent increase over one or the other. You need to look at the position and define the position and what the position should be compensated for.
Alderman Vaughn.
It's all this because Perkins named she assistant to Perkins. That's where all this coming from. We got to learn that we've been so selfish and do what's right. I mean, all this be coming out because she's an administrative supporting the mayor, the vice mayor. It's all this. What's all this about? We need to get real and grow up and grown people and do what we come up here to do. Because we doing it. We just, like we say, we want to leave here early. We've been on this in 20 minutes. I mean, we got a whole. What are we here to do? We're here to nitpick things, nitpick certain things. We nitpick certain people. We want to give a salary here, a salary there, and then because we don't like people or like certain people, we don't want to give them nothing. Or because of a certain person, we don't want to do it because that certain person's name attached to it. That's not being realistic and sure not being Christianity like. That's just being selfish because I don't want to do it because I don't like the person. We're not here to like nobody. We're here to make the best decision for the city. Well, we all understand that and quit doing what we're doing. We're here to make the best decision for the city and the peoples of the city. That's what we're here for. I mean, we sit here and argue over little stuff. I mean, just stuff don't even make sense. We've been here 30 minutes already dealing with this. And then we say we want to go home.
Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Vaughn, do you yield?
Yield, Mr. Mayor.
Alderman Little.
I'd just like to say for the record, I don't think anyone's been arguing tonight. It's just good debate, and I think that's what we're here for. Like my colleague said at the other end of the table, and I will sit here all night if necessary to get the business of Starkville taken care of. I don't have anywhere to be. Thank you. I yield.
Mayor, I think what a lot of people have to look at, Mrs. Carlisle answered to all 7 members of the board. All of us were assigned to Ms. Carlisle. Now we're talking about one particular member being assigned. I have nothing against anybody at this table. I think you all know that when I come in the evening time, I'm always kind and cordial. I don't let God roll out of my mouth 30 times while I'm here, and then I see my colleague and I don't speak. So having said that, Alderman Maynard, if you'd like to, Alderman Little and I are saying that you can offer a friendly amendment to include some more monies in there for Mrs. Lowry if you'd like.
I'll leave that to y'all. I'll just make a statement.
Further discussion. Alderman Walker.
Just have a question. This may be more for the city attorney. Looking at those boards and commissions, I know they're all very important and the work that the city does, but planning and zoning seems to be, typically has a fairly heavy workload, maybe along with the tree advisory committee. And those are clearly always in the public eye and need to be noticed properly and minutes taken properly. And I believe that they have been in the past. In your legal opinion, what do we need to do? Forget the money aside, but how should we structure from a legal standpoint to make sure that those minutes and things are being advertised properly?
You know, it's a little bit of a misnomer because, and Buddy can tell you the exact amount of arrearage that the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes are in, but I think they're at least 4 months behind.
February's complete. Yes.
So February's complete.
February's complete.
So even with Tammy Carlisle doing them, we're running at 5 months, 6 months of arrearage on planning and zoning meeting minutes. So whoever does it needs to really catch up. My experience was the most effective way to do it was when Buddy contracted those minutes out to a professional that he knew.
Mm-hmm.
She listened to the recording and did the best minutes I've seen on the P&Z in the last 7 years.
Wow.
So whoever it is, I would just urge they be diligent because the board's been really blessed that we haven't had a zoning matter that's challenged because right now we've got incomplete records on the P&Z level.
Thank you for that. First of all, that's totally unacceptable. That those minutes have to be up to date and they have to be accurate. I'm not sure how this is, where this is going tonight or where the votes are going to be on this. I would say whoever is in charge of doing that, it is extremely important that we have those minutes up to date for all boards and commissions, and that they remain up to date. I'll ask Mr. Sanders, when we were contracting out, that was just mentioned by the city attorney, what kind of was that line item coming out of the community development's budget?
I don't know if it was necessarily coming out of the community development budget. It was coming out of a different line item other than mine. We hired a part-time administrative assistant. Her name is Susan Wilson. Ms. Wilson moved to Nashville and continued to do administrative duties for the community development department.
So it was coming out of a part-time position?
That is correct.
So presumably a $10 or $11 hour position that was 20 hours a week maximum?
$11 an hour.
$11 an hour, 20 hours a week maximum?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, and to be clear, the way I had designed Vicky's position, Vicky would not have been taking minutes for planning and zoning. Vicky would have been keeping records, making sure notice was proper and records were up to date. And I do not expect, whether it be Ms. Lowry or Ms. Hampton, any person you put in that position to be physically present at those meetings taking minutes. However, I do view the role of being the custodian not only of the minutes, but also the gatekeeper of the notice process and the person who builds relationships with the chairs of each of those bodies so that everyone understands as things are taking place on a day-to-day basis, what the law is and how it is to be followed. That is a serious job. And again, we have done it before where there is nobody that has that as a part of their designated duties. I just think doing it that way is exposing us considerably. And I understand the motion we're talking about now is doing it a different way than I would like to do it. But I would offer those words of caution. Alderman Little.
So you're saying your intentions were not to have Ms. Hampton transcribe those?
No.
Who's gonna do that?
They would come from the department. She would receive the minutes, and she would be responsible for the records as well as notice.
So you're gonna outsource them? Because I understand Ms. Carlisle been transcribing them
Yes.
through the audio.
Well, yesterday, staff had a meeting, the planning section had a meeting, and put together a game plan for 4 minutes. Ms. Corbin is going to do the minutes.
For P and Z?
Yes.
At a cost of what?
She's an employee.
Okay.
Good
So you've
deal.
got that taken care of internally?
Yes.
Good job. Thank you. I yield.
Further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of Alderman Nguyen's motion, which I won't reread, but it was to place certain board and commission duties with Ms. Vicky Lowry and increase compensation of that position by $1,500. All those in favor of that motion, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. By a vote of 3 in favor with 4 against, this motion fails. All right, we're still in discussion on the original proposal, which was to expand the job duties of Ms. Hampton.
Mr. Mayor, I make the recommendation that we table this item until we can
Second.
have further.
Motion has been made to table the item by Alderman Walker. It's been seconded by Alderman Little. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. Alderman Carver, did you vote?
I did in favor.
Okay, by a vote of 5 in favor with 2 against, this motion is tabled. The next matter that you have before you is the consideration of approval to expand the job duties of Joanna Beelan to provide administrative support to the Board of Aldermen with added duties to constitute an expansion of duties and corresponding increase of 15% effective August 3rd, 2016. Alderman Nguyen.
Yes, I have a motion. Move approval to assign Ms. Joanna Breland as administrative support to assist the Board of Aldermen, Alderman Carver, Alderman Nguyen, Alderman Little, Alderman Walker, Alderman Scott Maynard, Vice Mayor Roy Perkins / Alderman, and Alderman Henry Vaughn, with a salary adjustment of 15% effective Wednesday, August 3rd, 2016.
Motion has been made. And it's been reduced to writing. Placed with the city clerk. Without objection, I will not ask for it to be reread. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Nguyen, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, I do not.
Alderman Carver.
Ms. Beelan's part-time, correct?
She is an intern, temporary part-time employee is technically her status.
Is this going to put her over the 19.9 hour mark for
No.
the week, or?
No, her hours will stay the same. She can't go over 20, but her duties will expand. So a pay increase is justifiable.
How many hours a week does this position entail in this
Well,
capacity?
I will tell you, the way this is designed, as I alluded to a minute ago, is to provide more limited support than what you may have called upon in the past.
Sure.
This is stripping the position to the essential functions of scheduling and travel. If you need a meeting scheduled, or you need something else scheduled, or when you are making travel preparations, it would be those tasks. And in consultation with the city clerk, we feel that Ms. Beelan is capable of fulfilling those tasks, and we feel on the workload that she's currently working without exceeding part-time status, she could do it. However, it is a much more significant responsibility than what she has, so we also feel a 15% pay increase is warranted.
City Clerk, do you feel that this individual is competent for this position? As far as in the past, we've had issues with travel and people showing up and not being registered, and those stories. But do you feel that she's adequate?
She is extremely organized and very dedicated. She is a graduate student in public administration.
Thank you.
Alderman Webb.
And Mayor, what I have decided that will work best for me, I will handle all of my engagements and all of my invitations. If I do any travel, then I would expect her to do that. But any research and anything else that I do, I'll actually do that on my own. So I will have very little contact with her in my terms as an alderman.
Further discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Vaughn.
I feel we should table this motion because it goes along with G and H goes together. So until we get out of the minds of what we're gonna do with H, I should feel like we should table G along with this matter.
Are you making a motion to table?
Yes, I am.
Motion has been made by Alderman Vaughn to table the matter. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Vice Mayor Perkins. Alderman Vaughn, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Discussion. Oh, and there is no discussion. I'm sorry. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed, please signify by raising your hand. By a vote of 5 in favor with 2 against, this motion passes and the matter has been tabled. The next matter before you is the consideration of approval of a salary adjustment and job title change from administrative assistant to the fire chief to executive administrative assistant effective August 3rd, 2016. And this is a recommendation that was made by the chief several weeks ago. I have reviewed the recommendation and I am presenting that recommendation to you at this time. Ms. Malone has been with the city for 23 years. There are 2 basic reasons that I feel the recommendation is justified at this time. And that is, first, in that 23 years, her duties have grown significantly due to the growing complexity of the fire department. The fire department's grown by 25% in that time period. And also due to the trust that she has developed through the years with the administration of the fire department, she has, through time, started to take on many more administrative duties. For instance, it is not uncommon at all when the chief cannot attend a board meeting or a staff meeting for Ms. Malone to attend in his absence. That is one reason, and the other reason is also due to the 23-year time period since Ms. Malone was hired. The way we are hiring into positions like this has changed quite a bit. And now, as you look across the city, the executive administrative assistant position was not something, to my knowledge, that existed in the 90s. And it is something that has come to be a fairly common job title or similar title along the same pay grade as the complexity of various departments have grown. I believe if Ms. Malone's position were vacated now and we were writing the job description to fill the position, because of the nature of the duties that this individual would be called upon to fulfill, the way you would write that job description is as the executive administrative assistant with the compensation, which is $37,000 and then some, and as presented to you. That's a total increase proposal of just over $4,000 for Ms. Malone. Alderman Wynn.
Okay, Chief Yarborough, will you please come forward? Chief, you stated 2 meetings ago that you would have a progression plan for your department. Do you have that progression plan? The mayor stated it on your behalf and you stated it on your behalf.
Right, we're working on it.
You're working on that now. When do you plan on presenting that?
I hope, if not August 16th, I hope the first meeting in September. It will have to be by the first meeting in September.
Chief, tell me this. How many officers do you have that are presently at $10 or less an hour? Less than $10 an hour?
Less than $10 an hour, probably 15 to 20, I think.
15 to 20. You actually have a total of 18, and if the board approves these 3 that are, that will actually be a total of 21 because their pay will be $9.50. You and I have had a conversation that you continue to lose firemen. And we've talked about that. That's because they're not making any money and they're traveling. They're actually, let me tell you what they're doing. They're actually getting certified using our city's money. We're buying them gear. And then in about 6 to 8 months, am I correct that we've had this conversation? They're in West Point, Columbus, or somewhere else.
West Point, Columbus.
It's very difficult for me to support this measure that you have before me tonight because you got guys over there that are working, making less than $10 an hour, but yet you haven't came to the board meeting and asked us not one time to increase pay raises for those guys, yet you've admitted to me that you have a retention problem. In the cover sheet, and I have it underlined, you said the growth of the Starkville Fire Department has changed tremendously. I know that you have a fire station that is not equipped, it's not manned at this time. What do you mean when you say that it has changed, it has had growth?
Well, we had growth because, you mean by the time, since Shonda,
I don't know. No, I'm not talking about, what are you talking about when you say growth?
well, we have grown because we have more people, but we have more personnel than we had.
So you have more personnel. So in other words, I guess it would be fair to say to the board members that Chief Nichols needs to come forward and ask for an increase for his administrative assistant because he's grown from 55 officers to a total of 70. And then we've assigned him, he is over there working with the architect to bring a building to fruition for plans for that. Okay? In this, you also state that she does managerial and executive responsibilities. What do you mean by that?
Right now, one of the biggest things we have is the Mississippi Fire Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new system we have. The system is when we come in, do reporting. So that's the biggest thing, do reporting. To do active reporting, she's directly over there.
Okay, tell me this. How many battalion chiefs do you have?
3.
You have a total of 3. Do they do any managerial and executive do they have any managerial and executive responsibilities?
They do. Well, managerial.
So if they have those, why is she doing those? And what are you doing?
Why is she doing?
Yeah.
Well, they do something completely different. They're working the shifts. They're doing actually the different side of the building. They're
Chief.
doing manpower. So.
Chief, let me help you. You're asking for $4,190.63. Guess what? We do that for her. We need to come back, and I'm going to be asking Chief to come back and ask for a raise. I need 2 things out of Chief. I'm asking him to ask us to compensate him for being over this building or whatever it is, and I'll be asking him to ask us for some compensation for his assistant. I'm going to be asking the city engineer to come for his assistant, Mr. Cody Barnett. I can't support this, and let me say this. You know for yourself that I'm not against you. Last year, we attended the fire academy together. What alderman went to the fire? You extended 8 invitations to the elected officials for the city of Starkville. What is that alderman's name that went with you?
Alderman Wynn.
Alderman Wynn. And there I learned that you needed wash and dry. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And learned about your code rebate monies. And I came back and asked for board support. Am I correct that you got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In January of this year, I got behind you in traffic. And I had already expressed concerns that you needed to upgrade your vehicle. Called you on the telephone and you answered. I asked you if you had the money in your budget. You told me, yeah, but you had been kind of reluctant to bring it to the board because you didn't think that they would support you. Who is that alderman that called you up and asked you to bring it to the board?
Alderman Wynn.
What kind of new car do you have now?
2016.
2016, far be it from that cruiser. I said all of this to say, I'm with you. Not only am I with you, I'm for you. But I cannot support this tonight because it just opens up a can of worms with other administrative assistants. We just finished talking about Miss Vicki Lowry today. Her salary is nowhere near this, and yet she's been with us 10.5 years too, so there's some longevity. I have nothing against Miss Malone, nothing. Now, let me go over this with you. You state in here that the department has grown and that there's managerial and executive experience. Ms. Malone, this is my planner from 2015 of last year. Ms. Carlisle was hired last year around about September or so. Mrs. Malone called me shortly thereafter, Chief, actually, and when she called me, and she has a comfort with me because we know each other from a long time. And she stated with me that she was concerned because the board had given this administrative assistant, executive administrative assistant, that title and that amount of money. That was her reason for wanting a pay increase. Again, Ms. Malone called me with that. Not you, but that's what she stated, and yet you list something else on here totally different. But that's what she stated to me at the time. And I just felt that you needed to know that, and I wanted the board to know that. Okay. Chief, I yield the floor at this time, and you may take your seat if no one else has any questions.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Vaughn.
I'll make a motion to table this item, Mr. Mayor.
Motion has been made by Alderman Vaughn to table the matter. Alderman Vaughn says motion.
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. All those in favor of Alderman Vaughn's motion, please signify by raising your hand. All those opposed, it's unanimous. Motion is tabled, or the item is tabled. The next matter on the agenda is the consideration of the approval of the annual rollover of the city attorney contract with Christopher J.
Move approval.
Motion has been made by Alderman Little to approve of the annual rollover contract, annual rollover of the city attorney's contract with, or the city's contract with Christopher J. Latimer of Mitchell, McNutt, and Sam's, PA, pursuant to the Mississippi Code, Section 21-15-25, with the terms of the contract remaining unchanged as presented. Alderman Nguyen or Alderman Little, is that your motion? Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Little, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Discussion. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. The next matter on the agenda is discussion and consideration of the advertising to fill the position of Human Resources Officer. Discussion.
Mayor, I move approval of this with one change. There is a job description at the table that had some minor edits and some typographical corrections. So I submit that as the official job description to be approved.
Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to approve of the advertisement to fill the vacant position of Human Resources Officer and placing the City Clerk, Chief Finance Officer Lisa Horton in charge of the advertisement and initial application screening as presented at the table. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes, and this would be for next fiscal budget year. So the position would not start before October 1.
All right, do you want that in the motion?
It doesn't have to be in the motion, just know as we're interviewing.
All right, do I hear a second? Second. Motion's been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Maynard, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. The next matter on the agenda is the discussion and consideration to advertise to fill the vacant position of, motion has been made by Alderman Little to approve the advertisement to fill the vacant position of building inspector in the community development department as presented. Alderman Little, is that your motion?
It is.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen. Alderman Little, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. It is now 7 o'clock. We've been here an hour and a half. Without objection, I'm going to take us into a brief recess. Seeing none, we'll move into a brief recess.
That's a great trip. Can't go wrong with
Next matter before you is a discussion and consideration of travel and training for Buddy Sanders to attend the True South Economic Development Course.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Alderman Nguyen to approve the travel and training for Buddy Sanders to attend the True South Economic Development Course in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, as the first step towards becoming a certified economic developer with advanced travel not to exceed $800 as presented. Alderman Nguyen, is that your motion?
It is.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Nguyen, or Alderman Little. Alderman Nguyen, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, I do not.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. Next matter on the agenda is a request for approval to perform asphalt repairs. So moved. Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to approve the request for approval to perform asphalt repairs on Garrett Road between Highway 12 and Old West Point Road with a cost not to exceed $30,000 to be paid from Ward 5 discretionary funds utilizing the bid prices from the 2016 Street Improvement Project contract as presented. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Maynard, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. The next matter on the agenda is a request for approval to accept the low quote from Hester Fence.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to approve the acceptance of the low quote from Hester Fence and Construction in the amount of $13,890 for the North Jackson Sidewalk Project to be paid from Ward 5 discretionary funds and authorization for the mayor to execute a contract with said contractor, which includes a contract time of 20 calendar days as presented. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Maynard, do you wish to speak on the merits? No, sir. Any discussion, any discussion, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay.
Nay.
By a vote of 5 in favor with one,
Oh, one, no, I'm sorry.
by a vote of 5 in favor with 1 against, this motion passes. The next matter before you is a request for approval to hire Michael Holmes, Nick Pearson, and Avery Todd. Who made the motion? All right, a motion has been made by Alderman Carver to approve the hire of Michael Holmes, Nick Pearson, and Avery Todd to fill the vacant positions of firefighter in the fire department, subject to a 1-year probationary period as presented. Alderman Carver, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Carver, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion, any discussion, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. Next matter on the agenda is a request, motion has been made by Alderman Carver to authorize the advertisement to fill the vacant position of maintenance worker in the street department as presented. Alderman Carver, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Carver, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion, any discussion, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. Next matter on the agenda is, motion has been made by Alderman Carver to approve of the City of Starkville annual benefits open enrollment as presented. Alderman Carver, is that your motion?
No, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Carver, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any?
Ms. Halbert, will you make sure that all the employees are notified in writing of the date, just so that everybody knows when they need to come in for that? Thank you very much.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. The next matter on the agenda is a motion has been made by Alderman Carver to approve of sending Corporal Crystal Hackett to Lebanon, Tennessee for the purpose of property officer supervisor management training, September 13th through 14th, 2016, at a total cost of $673.59 as presented. Alderman Carver, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Carver, do you wish to speak on the merit?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. The next matter on the agenda is request for approval and acceptance
So
of.
moved.
Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to approve and accept of the lowest bid from Waste Zero for the purchase of garbage bags in the amount of $127,380 for the 2017 annual bag distribution as presented. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Vaughn. Alderman Maynard, do you wish to speak on the merits?
Yes, sir. Just wanted to point out, this is less than last year. We have extra bags left this year, so we only ordered 11,000 rolls, so hopefully that will save us a little bit of money this year, since I never can get enough votes to completely wipe these out. We'll go with this. So, thank you.
Further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay.
Nay.
By, was it Little? By a vote of 5 in favor, 1 against, and I have Little casting the lone dissenting vote, the motion passes. The next matter on the agenda is request for authorization for Starkville Utilities to accept the lowest quote of $7,300. Motion has been made by Alderman Vaughn to authorize Starkville Utilities to accept the lowest quote of $7,300 submitted by Power Stroke Equipment for an Exmark 52-inch laser E-Series mower as presented. Alderman Vaughn, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Perkins. Alderman Vaughn, you wish to speak on the merits? Any discussion? Any discussion?
I got a question.
Alderman Maynard.
Terry, where are we going to use this mower?
We used to, we basically trying to consolidate all of our lift stations, all of our, I guess your water tanks, everything from our water side. We actually do also some small cutting around our wastewater treatment plant. But there's several locations probably outside in the community locations, that we maintain.
Is there
there any reason landscape doesn't do this? Or we just never? That's not, you don't have to answer that. I was just asking myself that question. Yeah. Thank you, Mayor.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. The next matter on the agenda is request for authorization for Doug Devlin and James Merritt. Motion has been made by Alderman Vaughn to authorize Doug Devlin and James Merritt to travel to Palm Springs, California to attend the Pipe Logics training August 23rd through 26th, 2016 at a total cost not to exceed $3,500 for both with advanced travel as presented. Alderman Vaughn, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been seconded by Alderman Walker. Alderman Vaughn, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
I feel the need to address this since it is Palm Springs, California. This is an important program under the EPA mandate that we're under. There's a new software system that is going to help immensely in complying with the program. They just happen to be located in Palm Springs, California, and that's where the workshop is. That's why we're sending 2 employees to Palm Springs, California. Further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay.
Nay.
And by a vote of 5 in favor with 1 against, this motion passes. The next matter on the agenda is the discussion and consideration of the approval of parking on street and within right. Motion has been made by Alderman Vaughn to approve of parking on street and within the right of way for the 509 development on the northwest corner of the intersection of University Drive and Hartman Street as presented. Alderman Vaughn, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second? Second. Motion has been seconded by Alderman Maynard. Alderman Vaughn, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. This will require a public hearing. All right, the next matter you have before you is the discussion and consideration of the rezoning request for RZ 1605. Hold on, I gotta have public comments first. For 116 North Montgomery Street from C2 to T5 with the parcel number 117M-00-137.00 LW 16-04. This matter requires a public hearing. At this time, is there anyone that wishes to be heard on this matter? Is there anyone that wishes to be heard on this matter? Is there anyone that wishes to be heard? Seeing no one, it's now eligible for adoption. Alderman Vaughn, did you make a motion?
Yes, sir. I move approval.
Alderman Vaughn's made a motion to approve of the rezoning request for RZ 1605 for 116 North Montgomery Street from C2 to T5 with the parcel number 117M-00-137.00 LW 16-04 as presented. Alderman Vaughn, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
The city attorney would like to ask you a few questions.
Alderman Vaughn, does your motion adopt the finding of the Planning and Zoning Commission that there was an error in the zoning map to form the basis of your motion?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Is there a second? Second. Motion's been seconded by Alderman Maynard. Alderman Vaughn, do you wish to speak on the matter?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Saying none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. The next matter on the agenda is a request for approval of the City of Starkville claims docket for all departments, including the Starkville Utilities Department as of July 27th, 2016 for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2016.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to approve of the City of Starkville claims docket for all departments, including the Starkville Utilities Department as of July 27th, 2016 for fiscal year ending September 30th, 2016 as presented. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Maynard, do you wish to speak on the merits?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Saying none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please signify by saying nay.
Nay.
By a vote of 5 in favor with 1 against, and I have Perkins as the lone dissenting vote, this motion passes. The next matter on the agenda is a request for authorization for Starkville Utilities to accept the sole quote from Navigation Electronics.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Alderman Walker to authorize Starkville Utilities to accept the sole quote from Navigation Electronics Incorporated, NEI, the sole authorized Trimble Mapping GIS dealer for the state of Mississippi for an upgrade to our existing Trimble GPS unit and associated software for an amount of $12,685 as presented. Alderman Walker, is that your motion?
Yes.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Maynard. Alderman Walker, do you wish to speak on the merit?
No.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Saying none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. The next matter on the agenda is a request for approval of an extension amendment to the amended and restated sales and computer software license support agreement. Motion has been made by Alderman Vaughn to approve of an extension amendment to the amended and restated sales and computer software license and support agreement between Southeastern Data Cooperative Incorporated and the City of Starkville as presented. Alderman Vaughn, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second? Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. Alderman Vaughn, do you wish to speak on the matter?
No, sir.
Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion clearly passes. To my knowledge, we have no executive session matter to discuss this evening.
Move to recess.
Motion has been made by Alderman Maynard to recess until August 16, 2016 at 5:30 in the courtroom at City Hall located at 110 West Main Street. Alderman Maynard, is that your motion?
Yes, sir.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion has been seconded by Alderman Little. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed,